Well, I think partly the local context is going to determine the campaigns that one runs. It has to come down to personal enthusiasm amongst members of the group. In our case, we have a small committee and our 2 annual big public meetings. So we take the temperature of issues from members at our big public meetings. But we've focused on 20 miles an hour campaigning and also campaigning about particular pedestrian crossings, either where there have been sort of very serious collisions and fatalities, or where the crossing is just so impossible for pedestrians that it quite clearly needs to be improved. So I suppose that's how we've really, sort of chosen what sort of things we're going to campaign on. A whole mixture. I mean, obviously we're based in Islington, so we write to our 2 local papers. We make sure, for instance, on 20 miles an hour, whenever someone writes a letter kind of complaining about speed humps or complaining about having to drive as slowly as 20 miles an hour, we make sure we put the point that actually responsible drivers are happy to drive at 20 miles an hour because it makes a contribution to the community, it's safer and makes for a better street environment. So it's a question of constantly putting the pedestrian case in the local media. We lobby our local councillors. You need to really understand the dynamics on your local council. You need to understand who's in power, who you need to influence in order to actually make things change. But you also need to get to know the council officers so that you're able to feed into their thinking, because they are the people who are going to be recommending to the elected councillors exactly what should happen in your area. Working with the local council officers, that's a question of building those relationships, trying to get a regular liaison meeting. We have one in Islington between the cyclists, the pedestrians and the local council officers, where we go through maybe 3 or 4 times a year. We meet up and we go through particular issues like pavement cycling, sort of cycle permeability, walking permeability, that kind of thing. And so that's a sort of very useful forum. Yes, we attend public meetings. There was one the other day, the Safer debate in Islington, which was a very large public meeting chaired by London Assembly member Jeanette Arnold. And there we managed to get the police to admit that they are not putting any resource into enforcing 30-mile-an-hour speed limits on our main roads, which is a huge opportunity for us now for campaigning going forward, because it was reported in the local press. So we have it on evidence that the borough commander is not enforcing 30 mph limits in Islington. So it's, by going to public meetings, you can actually find opportunities that then give you a hook to start campaigning on.